Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about the pendulum cycle theory. Now the pendulum cycle theory is the heart and soul of everything that I do inside of sports betting. Now, in order to create an edge, you have to understand the mechanism that is controlling the odds. You have to find a weakness inside that mechanism and then create a strategy to exploit it. The pendulum cycle theory recognizes that the odds are not random. They are actually bubble phenomenon. To actually wrap your brain around this, you have to understand what the main objectives of the bookies are. Now, the main objective of the bookies are to keep even money on both sides of a game at any time. Okay, they do this because they charge something called the juice. Now, if they're charging 11 to 10 odds, it means that you have to bet $110 in order to win 100. Now, the winner of the bet gets the $100 and the bookies keep the extra 10. This is how they make their money. However, they're left with a dilemma because basically there's almost always a favorite team and an underdog in any given game. Now, if there was nothing to deter the public would be all over the favorites and annihilate the bookies no matter what the juice was. Now, in order to keep this from happening, the bookies have a couple of tools in their toolbox. It's called the point spread or the odds. Now, if the Denver Broncos were facing the Oakland Raiders, the general public would be all over the Broncos because the Raiders have sucked for years. Now, if the Broncos are negative 15-point favorites to beat the Raiders, suddenly you have to think twice because the Broncos have to win by 2 touchdowns plus another point at least or a field goal. Now, everybody generally agrees that the Broncos are going to win the game, but are they going to win by that many points? And that is the main deterrent that keeps things balanced. Now, the thing to understand is that a point spread is basically a snapshot of public opinion. And the reason why this is not random is because the public has a memory. And they're driven by 2 emotions. They're driven by fear and they're driven by greed. Now, if the public sees that there's a particular team that is consistently winning against the spread, they're going to want to get a piece of that action. And they're going to put money on that team and try to get a piece of that. Now, if they see another team that is consistently losing against the spread, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to bet against that team consistently. Now, every time they do this, it raises or it lowers the point spread. And in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to talk about the 2007 Patriots season. Now, this was their perfect season, and against the spread, it was the most perfect bubble I've ever seen in my life. Basically, the first half of the season, they kept going up and up and up because they kept beating the spread. Now, eventually, this bubble popped, and then you couldn't win to save your life by betting on the Patriots. So, to get into a little more detail on this, in Week 1, the Patriots were facing the Jets. They were negative 6-point favorites, and they won this game. I believe the score was 34 to 14, 38 to 14, something around that range. Now, in their second game, they were facing the Chargers, and they were negative 3-point favorites. However, the Chargers were a stronger team than the Jets, so you can't really see that bubble forming. But the Patriots ended up winning by the exact same score that week as they did the first week. And from then on, it was on. The bubble was starting to grow. Now, by week 12, the Patriots were negative 24-point favorites versus the Eagles. Now, this wasn't even a home game, and they were 24-point favorites. And I estimate that you probably would have had about an 80% chance of winning if you bet on the Eagles in this game, because the point spread was just absolutely ridiculous. To recap what had happened at the beginning of the season, they were 6-point favorites against a relatively weak team. They beat that team, and they kept on winning as the weeks progressed. And as the weeks progressed, the point spreads kept on growing. Now I'm going to show you a diagram to demonstrate exactly what's going on inside the public's mind, and visually you're going to see how this works and why it's not random. Okay, now this chart basically demonstrates what's going on with the Patriots as this run progresses. Okay, we started off with negative 6-point favorites. As the season progressed, they were negative 15-point favorites. I believe that was against the Bills. And at the height, they were negative 24-point favorites versus the Eagles. Now, there's basically three things that are occurring that are going to make this pendulum swing the other way. Okay, the first is the increasing point spreads. You've got a ton of money coming in from the public. They're all over this and they're winning week after week. Okay, now the second thing is the Patriots have got a bullseye on their back. Basically, all the other teams in the NFL are looking for any weakness they can find to exploit, and you know that's basically what the game is all about. They study tape and they look to take the team down week after week. Now the final piece in here is that the bookies want/need this streak to end, because you know they're getting annihilated week after week. They cannot just continuously lose money like this, especially if the books are unbalanced, which I imagine they were. You were probably looking at like 80 to 90% on some of these games of public money being all over the Patriots. So what happens is you progress negative 6, negative 15, negative 24, and all of these things, you know, increasing spreads, the bullseye on their back, and the bookies wanting this streak to end. All of this pressure starts to weigh, and it brings that pendulum the other way. Now, once it burst, basically what broke the Patriots' back was the bullseye. Teams were starting to figure out how to beat the Patriots, and basically it was to put Tom Brady on his back. If they were able to get to Brady and sack him, he was not nearly as accurate, and he stopped tearing their teams apart. So once the Eagles figured out how to do this, they didn't actually beat the Patriots, but they only lost that game by 3 points. Almost every game after that, the other teams were able to follow this model that they created and started having success against the Patriots, and finally it was the Giants in the Super Bowl that were finally able to take them down. The 2007 Patriots were an anomaly. Most winning and losing streaks against the spread in the NFL last less than 7 games. Specialized chase systems designed to exploit the limits of these streaks will win consistently. Now, larger streaks can occur, but not nearly as often as they would if the game was actually random. So, coming up next, we're going to talk about chase systems, and I will give you a specific strategy called the regression theory. Okay, if you like the information that you're seeing in these videos, then go ahead and hit the like button, and be sure and leave a comment. And if you're seeing this anywhere other than my newsletter, go ahead and join up so that I can inform you when new videos like this come out and when I discover new strategies. Thanks for watching.